So I wanted to really like the intention here is clearly to let the world know out there that there can be situations which can be extremely pressurizing for the world and for people, but exceptions like you rise so well out of them. So I really want you to feel at ease because in the end, the reality is you're a winner.
There was a time when, like, initially there was just one student,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the girl I just talked about.
Yeah.
She told me to teach her own son, and she
Mm-hmm.
gave me 500 that time
Mm-hmm.
because I I believe in giving weekends off and not
Oh,
draining them. So I had
nice.
extra people with me, and I had a
Nice.
very good rapport with them all the time. So it was
Mm-hmm.
very. So we
Mm-hmm.
had a recruitment center.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, of course, now these MNCs knew about the academy and the HRs knew, and
Mm-hmm.
we got popular that time, and so people got to know. And because of the media, there were jingles on radio FM.
Oh, and some seeing your success, people wanted to mint out some money from your, success
Yeah,
also, and that was happening. And I mean, I'm sure you could not have been everywhere, and that is where your support.
तो जो कर सकते हो वो करते रहो, और जो पास में है उसी से शुरू करो. Don't expect much from people. Do it
Correct.
yourself, do it your way, and do it wholeheartedly. And हो
Correct.
जाएगा. मतलब मरने की जरूरत नहीं है किसी के लिए.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to I Have Got a Vibe, a space where we listen to stories that are honest, brave, and deeply human. Now, today's episode is about quiet strength, the kind that doesn't make headlines but builds lives. My guest today is a woman who faced a very difficult marriage, severe financial challenges, and immense emotional pressure, all while raising her children and ensuring their education completely on her own. She went on to build a successful teaching business through years of hard work and perseverance. And later, she found her voice through writing, authoring her book named Lucky's Life Book, followed by another book that continues her journey. The conversation is about resilience, motherhood, dignity, and choosing not to give up, even when life feels unbearably heavy. So, thank you so much for being here. I'm really, really honored to have you here. The name of the guest is Lucky. How do you feel, Lucky?
Hi. Hi, Sonakshi. I feel great about talking to you here, and I feel great about life in the present.
I'm
That
sure, I'm
I'm,
sure, I'm sure.
yeah.
Honestly, I feel so amazing to have, met you and, of course, through someone. And I feel like women like you really need to come out and, you know, like the way I'm sure you've inspired a small section of people around you. And now it is your time to inspire the world too. And it is my honor to kind of introduce you to the world out there. And I'm sure you've introduced, your life story through your books, and now people would love to know you as an individual too, how in person, how in person you are, as so that is exactly what we're here for. Now I would like to begin at a place, that was not very easy for you. I know there was a phase in your life when you were kind of facing extreme challenges in terms of your marriage, in terms of finance. Can you really share what that time looked like for you, both emotionally and mentally?
I need to take a breath.
Yeah, yeah, please, feel
That
free.
time was Yeah, that was a terrible time, as I remember, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that goes faint in the memory. Somewhere I live through it every day. As I mean, it stays with me as a memory. But yes, it was really terrible. now that now that it's been years, I can smile through it. Yes, and sometimes when I sit with my kids, we just talk about it. Those days, like from where, like how come we lived through all that? How could we do it? How could we live through it? How could we not die?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like someone else's story in the movie. So
Mm-hmm.
overall, briefly, if I say, it's something which I cannot believe as a human I could, as a woman, as a girl, as a lady, as a mother, I could live through. I never knew I had that kind of strength. And it's only when you go through those situations do you discover yourself.
Yeah, that's so
And
true. That is so true.
yeah, before my marriage, I had everything. Life was very comfortable, and I haven't ever seen a financial crisis,
Yeah,
and I never knew what it was like to live through that lack of money and lack of everything.
yeah.
I was so comfortable. I mean, of course, as you were young that time, you don't
Mhm.
know much about life. Life is simple, and um, you don't look into the depth of it.
Correct.
So it was all smiles, like going to college, easy life. I mean, just studying, knowing that that's what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But my getting married changed everything. And from having almost everything to having nothing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so there was,
I'm
yes,
sorry. I'm gonna really interrupt you here, Lucky. I have no intention to really, make you kind of go through the same feeling again. So I wanted to really, like, the intention here is clearly to let the world know out there that there can be situations which can be extremely pressurizing for the world, and for people, but exceptions like you rise so well out of them. So I really want you to feel at ease, because in the end, the reality is you're a winner. You are a winner, right? So just, don't, I don't want you to feel sad about it, because I am so happy. I want to be a woman like you, really, like someone who can pull out of pressure and, build empires. Isn't that beautiful? So you are beautiful, all right? Just if that can ease you a bit. I just wanted to
yeah,
ease you
thank
by
you.
saying this. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Sonakshi. So that time, uh, of course, I had loads of work to do at
Ji,
home. And
ji.
8 years after my marriage, I did no work. No
Mhm.
work in the sense that could give me some financial strength. I was not
Correct.
working outside, and it was just taking care of the home because that is what we were taught while younger. We were taught to look after the home and to be a nice woman and a nice mother and to
Yeah.
look after the husband. So
Yeah.
I thought I was just doing that and that would get me a lot of happiness in life.
Yeah.
But it just didn't happen that way. And 8 years, I gave in all of it. And after 8 years, I realized I had nothing. Like I was made to realize that financial independence is really what gives you the place. Financial independence gives you the stability. So
Yeah.
without that, uh, like you stand nowhere. So I was given that kind of a feeling through physical abuse and uh, so many other ways that I realized that I have to start working. So I started working after 8 years
I'm sure.
of my
I'm sure it
marriage.
was. This phase must have not been easy for you. And, you were managing stress inside your marriage. That's one thing. But you were also dealing with economic pressure. And, how did that financial instability kind of, lead you to, um, like, decide your self-worth? Like, how did that impact you? How was that making you feel about yourself?
The entire situation gave me a very low self-esteem that time, which is normal. I mean,
Yeah, which is, it is.
yeah, so I mean, the place I was married, I was told to leave the house every day, and as I see, for no reason. So once it was night time, and usually happened in the night. And after the physical abuse and the verbal abuse, I was like, "Tu mere टुकड़ों पे पलती है," I was told. "Tu mere टुकड़ों पे पलती है." So this is what hit me.
G, G, G.
So then for many days, I just thought about it that I have to have some money
Yeah,
so I can take an auto and probably go to my mom's house or wherever. So I knew where I was going, because without money, without your slippers, without your clothes, right on the in the middle of the road, in the middle of the night, you can go nowhere else. So
correct, correct.
my kids were very small. My son was 1.5 years, and he would just pull me inside, and all they would just cry,
Yeah,
and so they would pull me in, and I was pushed out. So I thought, okay, let me just take care of the situation and stay for a while, and then have my own money, do something. Then I thought, what is it that I know? What is it that I can do?
mm-hmm.
So that was the time when I seriously thought about it, and I thought, let me have the minimum that gives me something to hold on to. And it was just I thought I should have at least 500 rupees. So
Wow.
as low as that. So
And
it was
this is
around,
how many years back, if I may
yeah,
ask?
this was around 2000, year
Wow.
2000.
I mean,
So
500 was still not considered a huge amount at that time as well, right? 500 was just very barely minimal, correct, in 2002.
yeah, I thought of 500 just because I thought that was sufficient enough for me to know to take an auto and
Yeah.
reach somewhere,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just just to give me some direction. So then I started thinking on these terms. What
Ji.
is it that I can do?
Mm-hmm.
It took me a while to think of the business, so called, like what I eventually did.
Ji.
So before this, I was teaching in a school when my
Mm-hmm.
son was just less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
I taught for a while, and then I was told to stop going to the school because I was leaving behind my household chores and probably not treating them well. So I had to drop that and not do that. Then so now was the time when I thought, okay, I should. They what they wanted was to do the household things and to take care of the kids and to do some like work, business, or whatever. So the obvious question was, in that scenario, in that situation, what was it that I knew? What was it that I could do
Mm-hmm.
without spending more money and more time? So in that very situation, so I asked myself, ऐसा क्या है जो मुझे आता है?
Ji, ji, ji.
So, after a lot of introspection, I came to two things. One was painting. I knew a bit of it during
Okay,
school,
wow.
college time.
Ji, ji.
Yeah. So, but then of course, I had to hone that a bit and do some course and spend some money and then go somewhere and learn it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just dropped on it. And then the other was the bit of English that I knew
Mm-hmm.
during my post graduation. So I thought, okay, let me just give it a try and do some like teaching or tuition or whatever. So um, with that 500 in my mind, I thought, okay, let me just have one kid only, just one kid,
Yeah.
so that I can have some money in my hand and just
Mm-hmm.
try something.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
So
absolutely. Absolutely. I think this would have been my next question. When it comes to, you looking for a job, did you say that you were managing your kids' expenses yourself? Like you had to take care of their tuition fees and everything yourself? Was that you was
yeah,
taking care of it? Just
yeah,
you?
yes, yeah.
Which was that the motivation for you to, at least start off some sort of profession in your life, because you had to also not just take care of your expenses but your kids' expenses as well, because you'd been like almost you were left in a situation where you had to take care of your expenses and your kids' expenses too. Is that true?
Yeah,
Wow. That must have not been easy. Um, did you ever feel
yeah,
guilty as a mother, like, if I may say, for not being able to provide that ideal situation? I mean, were you dealing with such emotions?
very much. Every day. Like, uh, there
What
was
part I'm sorry. What part made you more guilty? Were you feeling more guilty as a wife or as a woman or as a mom? Like what
as a
really made
mom, as
as a
a
mother?
As a
Wow.
mother, I felt so guilty every day. One, because the home atmosphere was really bad.
Hmm.
So I was guilty that as kids, they were losing on their innocence of childhood, of playing around, and I couldn't give them the best. And that's what hurts me even today. So
Yeah.
it was really terrible. And then, of course, other things like not being able to provide them with like good stuff, nice car, and good home atmosphere, and good stuff like
Yeah, yeah, of course. I
overall.
understand. Yeah. Every mother
So,
wants to get the best toys for their kids. I know that. I'm a mom too, so
yeah,
yeah.
toys and clothes and going
Everything. Yeah.
around having fun, just restaurants and picnic places and just traveling. So all that wasn't possible at all.
Yeah.
But giving them a good home atmosphere, a family thing, a good childhood, these are the things that really hurt me that time. And uh, the solution to this I found was if two people are not in sync with each other,
Yeah.
and like the way the tug of war happens when two people are in conflict, they are just pulling,
Yeah.
in
Each
all
other apart.
directions.
Yeah.
If one of them gives up, I mean, this is how the image would come to me. If one of them gives up, there is no conflict.
Yeah.
So I try to do that, and I just stopped thinking. I stopped giving any explanation. There was a time I used to explain like, नहीं नहीं मैंने ऐसा नहीं कहा मेरा मतलब ये था and this is not what I meant and this is what happened exactly. Like giving explanations to clarify. But then I started just being quiet because whatever I would say that would lead to more conflict and altercation because that would spoil the home atmosphere again and kids would think like they wouldn't know what to do.
Hmm.
So this was one thing that I thought would help and probably it did also. But then this made them think that I was very timid. You have to act like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it. I get it. But sometimes I also believe, Lucky, that when you choose to keep quiet, sometimes it might be perceived as your weakness, but it is
Exactly.
truly your strength, where you're trying to gather yourself and just build something like you built. And that brings me to a very happy part of your life. I mean, if not the happiest, but at least the strong part of your life. And that is where that I'd like to have a line of questions for you regarding how did you, like, what was that moment, like, at some point you really, through your thick and your thin, you got into something which eventually led you to a very flourishing teaching business. So what really sparked that decision? Like, how did you gather strength out of so much weakness and so much guilt and everything bad? How were you able to really believe that despite everything bad that was happening to you, you could really build an empire? So tell me this. I'm really intrigued and interested and like excited to know what's going on here. How did that happen?
See, I did not know myself that I was capable of all that. Then it was the situation that just pushed me into it. And as I just mentioned earlier, that one sentence that hit me so hard that I have to have my own money, whatever. So this is what how it started in the mind. Then how I was to do it was another step.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
started thinking on those terms like what to do now.
correct.
So how to decide out of those two things that I could do, I just mentioned, like
Mhm.
painting and the English part.
Yeah, yeah,
Then next step was, when I decided on doing English, teaching English, then the
Mhm.
next step was how to start it.
जी, जी, जी.
So there's a bit of story to it that there was a friend of, like, someone, like an acquaintance, a neighbor,
Mm,
you could say,
mhm.
staying in the next lane, and people knew what was going on inside the house because they would all watch at night and stand in the balconies and hear the whatever scene.
Correct. Yeah.
So, so here I was talking to her generally, like, this is the scene, and I don't know what to do. Then she was the one who suggested, like, okay, what is it that you know? I said English. Then she said, okay, I have a bit of space. That's a barren hall. So
Mhm.
would you like to start it there? Though it was a
Mhm.
very weird idea. I would have said no had I
Yeah.
had an option.
Mhm.
But that need of it, the
Yeah.
requirement, the urgency was so much that I couldn't think beyond that. And I said, yes, of course.
You wanted to
So,
just jump on the first opportunity that you received,
yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
Correct, correct,
So,
correct.
not knowing what to do, of course, I had to pay her because it it would cost something to her also.
Mhm.
Though, so she told me I had to pay 5,000. I said, okay, I don't have that much of money,
Right.
but okay, let me think. So she said, okay, you just start,
Yeah.
and when you have somebody, some students, two or three,
Mhm.
so I would just sit and wonder, like, two, three students is good enough. So that's how I
That's
started,
so
because it was not a business plan for me. There was no
correct.
strategy. There was just the desire to stand on
Survive?
my own feet and do
Yeah.
something. Yeah, survive and provide for my kids, just a bit of it. And the fact that I was totally dedicated, and the fact that my intentions were true. So whatever I did, I just did it wholeheartedly. I think that is what worked.
I'm
It was
sure.
an emergency. Yeah, it was really so urgent for me to do that.
Can
And
I can I say, Lucky, that when you'd started teaching at that time, you were just drifting away from that, or that those moments when you were teaching, or when you were away from that environment, that really pressurizing negative environment, and when you started teaching, that just took you out for maybe a couple of hours out of that space, out of that negative space,
oh
or
yes,
were you? Yeah, I think
of
I
course,
yeah.
yes, that is definitely what helped me. And
Yeah.
apart from the financial independence, this was the second point that you just mentioned, that I wanted to be out of that suffocating atmosphere,
Yeah.
and it would give me some kind of a breather, and I could think beyond
Yeah.
that
Agreed.
thing, and something positive and nice about life, even if it was just writing something about
Yeah.
life, just
Yeah.
doing anything. So there was a time when, like, initially there was just one student,
Mhm.
uh, the girl I just talked about.
Yeah.
She told me to teach her own son, and she
Mhm.
gave me 500 that time.
Mhm.
So yes, that's how I started. So probably uh, I used to sit for hours sometimes just
Mhm.
to spend some time, think of life, and find some better ways to live.
Yeah.
And this also, this created issues at home. There were questions like, "माँ बैठी क्या कर रही है? खाली
Correct.
क्यों बैठी है? So why
जी.
don't you just come home?" And then the other was, let me also come over and share this space and do my work. So I said, no, no, no. Like,
Correct.
because that was one thing that I was leaving behind. I wanted to step out of that atmosphere. So obviously, I
And then
just,
think, then be able to think, right? Of course. No,
yeah,
no, I
yeah.
get it. Absolutely. Um, and the early years, they must have been really hard, right? Because it's usually the toughest time when you're trying to build a career, right? So the initial years happen to be the most difficult. So were there any initial struggles which you were facing, when you were trying to grow this teaching business?
Yeah, in fact, there were many. One was stepping out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
One.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then I was told to do the household thing first,
Mm-hmm.
and then think of anything else. I did that.
I have a
Earlier, I
quick
would wake
question
up.
for you. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Do you hear my kid in the background? Because I've got a kid who's walking around, and I've tried my best to cancel the noise from the background, but I hope if you hear my kid, just let me know too.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I can't. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Mhm.
Yeah, so one was stepping out of the house,
Yeah.
and then the condition was do your household things and then go. I did that. I
Mhm.
used to wake up at 5. I started getting up at 4 and do everything. The second was take the kids with you.
Correct.
And uh, I would, by 8, I had a group of like some girls who would come to study English,
Mhm.
and they were from export house. And there was a particular time, probably 9,
Mhm.
that they had to join, and they would come to me at 8 in the morning. So
Mhm.
for them, for me to have their class at 8 o'clock, I would be there for 15 minutes before and,
Earlier. Yeah.
take my kids with me.
Mhm.
And my younger one would be, I think he was around 1.5 years, and I would just carry him. And
Wow. Oh my God. Are you serious? Wow. Wow. Must have
so
not been.
I had to take both my kids with me so that they had no responsibility. So there, they after that, I would just clean up the whole thing and set it in a certain way for the
Mhm.
class to begin.
Begin.
And then the little one would be sleeping, and there was a cupboard to my left, and it had no doors to it
I get it. I
that
get it.
time.
You just rest
I
him
would just,
there. You rest the kid there.
I would just put him there, and he would sleep
Um,
all the time.
Oh, wow. But as much as I feel bad, I have to say that, a voice within me says that I'm so proud of you. Look at you, lady. I mean, look at you. The world needs to know, of course, your story, but at the same time, the kind of accomplishment that you made despite that just shows how much fire you had within yourself to give the best to your kids and to yourself, and how much you were a winner and not a victim. You chose to be a winner. You chose to be someone who would not really act as a victim anymore. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, go ahead,
Yeah,
Elise.
I've always wanted to know what is it that I can do.
Hmm.
I always ask myself whenever trapped in a situation, this is one thing I always ask for. Resolve kaise karna hai? Ab karna kya hai? So that's what I end up doing, and I find a solution somehow. And
But वो
this is
टाइम आई
what kids
थिंक
learn.
क्या बोल सकते हो? कैन यू से लकी दैट टाइम दैट ये खुद से बात करने का जो जो वक्त आपको मिला, द टाइम दैट यू रिसीव्ड,
Mm.
that was only when you chose to sit aloof, when you like cut yourself
Yes,
off, or when you distracted yourself out of that space, is when you were able to find some great solutions for yourself,
yes,
right?
exactly.
And for you
Very
to
right.
find that space, you had to step out. You had to gather the courage to find that space for yourself. And that is where, your winning began. I'd say so. That's what I see.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very right. So here, when I would step into the academy, I
Mhm.
realized it was a new me. Like
Yeah.
जो किरदार बदल जाता है ना, like it
Indeed.
was, I was a different person. I realized I was more confident. I felt
Yeah.
a new person. And
Yeah.
here, of course, in the academy, when I started,
Hmm.
I was the one taking care of the cleaning.
Yeah.
I
I'm sure. I'm
was
sure.
I was doing counselings, I was making calls, I was receiving calls, I was making modules, I was teaching at the same time, taking walk-in counselings, taking care of my kids. So it was, to begin with, it was just me. And sometimes the neighbors wouldn't cooperate, and they would just walk in to fetch a brochure of mine or just to peep in what the other person is doing. So
Yeah.
these are things I did not know earlier, that people they don't want you to grow. So
Correct. 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 I get. I get it. I get it.
there were
Uh,
many such things. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, I think you were acting like a one woman army. It's usually said it's a one man army, but I think you acted as a one woman army here. I mean, taking care of everything to eventually, I think, staffing people, right? But then when it began, I'm sure you were taking care of everything. And did you ever feel ashamed of it? I don't think so.
No, not ashamed at
Because you
all,
were the
because whoever,
teacher, but then you were cleaning too, right? And you were like you were doing the administrative stuff too. So did you ever feel
Yes.
ashamed of what you were doing?
No, in fact, whenever I taught, whoever would have many good words to say to me, and
Yeah.
it gave me a lot of strength. And it was just those words that told me that I was, apart from what I was told at home, I was this also.
Yes, you were this too. Correct. I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
and I had never got time to look into this part of me, and I could relate to it, and I said, yeah, this is me, and this was me in college, and
Correct.
I I started working on it.
I agree. I
So
agree.
it
All
was
right.
wonderful.
So, Lucky, tell me this. When your business started to flourish, right? And now you were kind of moving from seeing your business as a survival technique to eventually getting into, you know, um, looking at your business as a full-time uh, income methodology for you. What started to change inside you now? What started changing financially, emotionally? How did you start seeing yourself now?
Well, it was a wow moment for me
i'm
because
sure i'm sure I'm
from
sure you
having no
see me
money.
smile wide, and like I can tell you, I'm just bursting with fun and happy joy moments within, because this is exactly what makes you so inspirational. Go ahead.
So from having no stability, I was feeling so confident. From having no self-esteem,
Yeah.
I've started feeling so confident.
Yeah.
And I was I was having too much of negativity around. I got rid of that. Always listening to some silly things like you are this and that and not good enough. So I started believing in myself, and I knew that yes, I was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And why not? And it's not what I said to myself, it's what, when students said this, when people said this, and it really gave me a lot of good vibe. And if once you start feeling good about yourself, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's
Mm-hmm.
what leads you to further steps ahead.
Correct.
And the feel good factor is really important, and you cannot have it on your own, you can't feel it yourself.
Correct. Correct.
It
Correct.
is the situation that tells you, it's the people that tell you, it's your work that tells you.
Correct. Correct. And
So
I also.
now I had confidence. Sorry. Yeah.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I'd like you to finish first, please. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So after seeing all this
Mm-hmm.
work, when work flourished, I had a lot of financial stability. Paisa itna aata tha, like I had no place to keep it. I had no personal bank account because I didn't want to show it publicly that at home I didn't want to show that I had that much of money, and I couldn't hide it.
Correct.
So I
Yeah.
remember uh, I used to just make bundles and just throw it in the loft up in the
Ah.
office.
Oh wow, isn't that I'm sure that must have been fun, huh? That was fun. Every time you were
And
throwing a bundle of money inside, I'm sure you were having some fun moments for yourself. No, that's
yeah,
great.
this is the first time I had that much of cash around, not knowing what to do. I bought a car, I bought a better office, a bigger office in South Campus.
Yeah.
I had various branches later on.
And did you
I
hire some staff also?
Oh, yeah, lot. And
Agreed.
uh,
अकेले तो
in
नहीं
fact,
कर.
I hired some extra staff
Yeah.
because I I believe in giving weekends off and not
Oh,
draining them. So I had
nice,
extra people with me, and I had a
nice.
very good rapport with them all the time. So it was
Mm-hmm.
really nice working with them. And we had trainers, various trainers, because students itne hote the, being in the South Campus now,
जी.
मॉर्निंग टिल इवनिंग वॉक-इन्स होते थे एंड कॉल सेंटर ट्रेनिंग्स होती थी,
Oh
बैचेस होते
wow.
थे।
Acha, so it moved on from teaching English to school kids to now teaching English to professionals as well, like corporate sector people as well,
या
correct?
या या
Wow. Isn't that
एंड
amazing?
इट
And no, but it's very interesting to know कि आप इतने amazing ideas लेके कहाँ से आ रहे थे? Were you like now getting professional guidance, or this was your magical brain which was kind of giving you all these beautiful ideas कि अरे मैं ये कर सकती हूँ तो मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ, ये कर सकती हूँ तो ये भी कर सकती हूँ. What was going on? Because I mean, for someone to have thought, to have moved from teaching school kids to starting, training call center ke professionals
Yeah.
is a, I mean, that's a transition, right? And you need to have some vision and some thought behind moving on to this, or getting transitioned in such a way. So how did you do that? Very curious to know.
Actually, I had no vision myself. I
Ji.
wasn't that much a businesswoman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I was just a good person at heart. So
Yeah, yeah.
I just, I knew I had to do something more.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever I could see, I looked at the ads in the newspaper. I was definitely looking for better prospects.
Mm-hmm.
I would advertise in newspapers, I would advertise in the cable TV and
Oh,
the
you
South
did.
Campus. Yeah, this was just a bit that I could do and advertise in the newspapers, giving
Mm-hmm.
ad on page 3 and whatever I thought I could do, I did all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there were meetings and people approached. I met all of them. So I just wanted to know. I was just trying to do better, how to do
Right.
more, how to do more. So
कभी
that
डर
time,
लगा? कभी डर लगा
नहीं नहीं
कि
कभी
पता
नहीं
नहीं मैं ये
कभी
कर
नहीं
भी पाऊंगी या नहीं? मतलब कम ऑन, यू वर
नहीं
टीचिंग प्रोफेशनल्स नाउ. अभी आप बच्चों को नहीं पढ़ा रहे थे. यू वर मूविंग ऑन टू
कभी डर
समथिंग.
नहीं लगा
जी.
नहीं लगा because I had seen quite bad situations
सो
and
नाउ
I knew I
एवरीथिंग
was
वाज लेस स्कैरी फॉर यू.
exactly scary तो word ही नहीं था
नहीं.
I wasn't scared at all because एक बात पता थी I knew that whatever I was doing well
या ओके. आई एम
दिल से
श्योर.
करती थी so
जी.
there were no I wasn't following any book I wasn't following anybody किसी का देख के कर लिया I followed what I thought that kid should know how
करेक्ट.
because while dealing with various groups various sets of people like I taught nurses I
हम्म.
taught doctors and lawyers and school students and young adults so
जी.
they required different kind of design modules for them it was not just one thing so
करेक्ट.
what they
करेक्ट.
needed I kept changing according to them
करेक्ट. करेक्ट. करेक्ट.
so I
करेक्ट.
think that's how I flourished, I would say. And students, there was, I had a good rapport, and that's how, with word of mouth and all that, like the batches were all the time full.
Can we can we say, Lucky, जैसे life was just happening to you? Business also happened to you if you say that you didn't have a vision, you were just doing your thing and you were not really focusing on results. You were just doing your things, and those things kind of were falling in place for you because you were not
Right.
really. I think you were focusing more on the journey than the destination, if I may say, for your
Exactly. Right, right,
it
right.
was one step of progress every single day. And
Yeah.
then, eventually it turned out to be such an amazing empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I remember you saying, in our conversation also that you did eventually start distributing franchises of your business, of your
Yeah.
across different cities in India. What was the story
Yeah.
there?
When we started giving ads in the newspaper and
Mm-hmm.
people got to know about it, there was an interview at Doordarshan. I mean, they interviewed me,
Mm-hmm.
and we started a recruitment cell
Mm-hmm.
where we train our students, and instead of sending them to the call centers,
Mm-hmm.
we would train them, and then we would give them mock interviews, and then send them call the
Straight up.
HRs at our own center. So we
Mm-hmm.
had a recruitment center.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, of course, now these MNCs knew about the academy and the HRs knew, and
Mm-hmm.
we got popular that time, and so people got to know, and because of the media, there were jingles on radio FM.
Oh,
People
nice.
knew, and they were,
Wow. Are
yeah,
you serious? Wow. You should have also been an actor for your own ads. That would have been so much fun because you're so gorgeous. You're so beautiful. No, seriously. Hmm.
I never knew all this actually, so I was just so busy doing the journey.
I know, I
Uh,
know. No, I'm sure
so,
creating success for yourself in a very silent way. Um,
so
what was
when
the name of?
people
Mhm. Go ahead, please.
So when people approached us,
Mhm.
knowing that this kind of a place existed, they wanted franchisee, So that was the time when we had about 5, 6 other centers that
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
And
In Delhi itself?
no, 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 in
Mhm.
other states.
Oh, in other states.
Like
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, but being away from, I had restrictions being a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a mother, and of course, at home there was so much of restrictions on me that I couldn't go and visit the centers myself.
Correct.
So you can't do. I mean, I realized later that time. That time I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that you have to have some kind of a direct contact with the
Mm-hmm.
centers, or probably be a little harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Policy wise, you have to have some papers sign and all that. I didn't, it was all new to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And later I realized that people started taking money on our name, and
Oh
they
wow.
would line up people there at their own centers and take
Mm-hmm.
money from every candidate, which we never did, because
Oh,
when you recruit, the companies pay you. You're not
mhm.
supposed to take them from the students, like from the
Correct.
candidates
Correct.
who are
Yeah.
not employed.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they started taking money from candidates there, and
And then the
that
company as well.
was,
So both ways, they were trying to earn both sides. Yeah.
yeah, but that money, they kept that money, and it wasn't fair.
Yeah, it
So there
wasn't
are
fair.
some, yeah, there are some things, some negative things that you learn while on that journey.
Yeah.
So there
But
were many things I learned. Yeah.
yeah, but you can also see that's quite understandable also because you were entered the business and without any guidance, and you were starting, and then you were of course taking care of the kids also, and you were doing the best you can. So I'm sure there's some, seeing your success, people wanted to mint out some money from your success
Yeah.
also, and that was happening. And I'm sure you could not have been everywhere, and that is where your support, you needed support too. And but then I definitely think that the kind of success that you gathered for yourself, even though people were trying to mint some money out of your business, I think you still stand successful. That is where the story kind of always is going to remain, that you stood as successful, and that too all by yourself, right? um
Yeah, I wasn't scared at all. It was
I
just a
see that.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that was
That
that was
I
your
was,
learning.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was quite okay with it.
correct.
Yeah,
So that, yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, since I wasn't, I had those restrictions.
Yeah,
I couldn't meet people for, I couldn't go and meet men, especially. I couldn't go out in the world and explore much about the business opportunities. And I missed out on so many of them being a woman. कि कहाँ जा रही है, किससे मिल रही है? So this kind of a question mark was always there. It
yeah,
restricted me so
correct.
much. And sometimes I feel I could have done much better
Yeah,
had this
because I'm
not
sure
been
your
there.
physical presence was needed at places, but you could not be there, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So whatever you did in your business also was also not your complete independent self, if I may say. You still
Yeah.
were, doing it in a zone of restriction,
Restricted.
correct? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. And
yeah.
this was another rule that I had to be home before the kids got back from school. They would be home by 2, and I would be home by 1:30.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that just to keep the atmosphere cool at home.
Correct, correct, correct. So you
So
were
I
still
couldn't,
trying to balance. You were still,
yes,
of course, despite the fact that you were earning so well, you had to also take care of that situation which was lurking around you for years. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, but yeah, some things are just, I don't know, some things just, they're not easy to, you know, just rub off your life. But I'm sure eventually you did, and eventually, you kept progressing. That's the best part, and that is where we choose to focus on. Another happy part of your life is your book, where you wrote about your own life. This is Lucky's life book. What made you decide that your story needs to be written and shared? Like, how did you come across this thought? Because I know you've got wonderful thoughts in your brain. Yeah.
I would like to mention two, 3 points on it.
Mm-hmm.
One was when I lost my mother. So I was like, when I was in trouble, she was the closest to me, and she would give me her pension amount
Oh, wow.
because she knew I was going through that crisis, and she would help me. She would give me all, like a few thousand, but काफी help हो जाती थी.
Ji,
So
ji.
when I lost her,
Mm-hmm.
She was the only one who supported me, and I was like a um, I felt I was an orphan. कोई भी नहीं था दुनिया में. So I was so dependent on her. When I lost her, I felt that void,
Yeah.
and I actually wanted to know what she was like as a person, as a soul,
Mm-hmm.
apart from being a mother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I spent hours and days and months thinking about her. And it's only when a person is not around that you miss that person more.
Yeah.
So,
That's true. That's so true. Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
get.
that's what happened to me. And that gave me first time the idea that everyone, we all should have some kind of a story written somewhere. And I wish my mom had something, few pages, some pictures or something for
Yeah.
me to
To
read and
know.
know what she was like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I called up her
Agree.
brothers and asked about what she was like when she
Mm-hmm.
was a kid, when I didn't know. Because while she was alive, I was all the time busy with my own life, not just thinking about her.
Correct.
So this gave me the first idea that I'm going to write something about my life so my kids know. Of course, they know, but
Mhm.
there should be your own version of it.
Correct. Correct. I
So
agree.
this was the need I felt. And second was um, post-COVID, when my
Mm-hmm.
kids left for Australia, I
Mm-hmm.
was alone and I was so lonely
Yeah.
that I just I would just sit and look at old pictures and not knowing where I was and kya hua hai, all these. I'd spent 30 years of my life by
Correct.
this time, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, like there was question mark here. What was the sequence of life events and how things happened, and I was in a mess. जैसे कई बार
Yeah.
कई
Yeah.
धागे वो,
बिल्कुल.
you know,
Suddenly आपका घर
different
एकदम. Yeah. Suddenly your
बन
kids were
जाता है.
gone and yeah.
Yeah,
जी.
and we had nothing to fall back on. जैसे different colors के धागे जैसे ऊन के गोले उलझे होते हैं. That's the
जी.
image that comes to my mind. तो ये हालत थी
जी.
mind की. So I just wanted some kind of sorting out कि where am I, ये हुआ क्या है life में.
Correct.
So then I did what I was quite used to doing since
Mm-hmm.
my school and college time. I would just write down my thoughts
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I did that time also. It kind of resolves the issue point wise, लिख लो या जैसे भी.
जी.
So it,
जी.
it works for me. So I did
Yeah.
that and it took me many days to sort out मेरे दिल में जो जो feelings थी, भाव थे, जो जो
Correct. Correct.
mind में आ रहा था. I just wrote down
Mm-hmm.
rough में ऐसे. So by the time I unpoured और मेरे को लगा कि हाँ अब ठीक है, I can breathe.
Oh, nice.
So it turned out to be so
To be
many
a book.
pages.
Yeah.
Then I
Nice.
told my daughter to please
Mhm.
print it for me क्योंकि वो ही मेरी writing समझ सकती है.
Okay. Okay. Fair
So
enough. Yeah.
so she had no time during Monday to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Weekend पे छुट्टी मिलती है. So उस पे उसने किया. She would type it down and so that's how it happened. And I thought चलो अब मैं इसको type करके I get it printed for
Mm-hmm.
my kids. So before now the thought was let me just get it in the form of a book
Mm-hmm.
and just keep it. So it just happened that way. And then I met the publisher and it just happened and
How
it came
nice.
out in
How
the form of a
nice.
book.
And then you followed it up with another book, right? Can you just shed some light on the other book as well? And I'm going to have the links of both the books in the description as well as they're flashing on the video as well. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So the second book was a poetry book in Hindi
Oh, nice.
because my thoughts come in Hindi because I have studied till class 4 in Hindi
जी,
medium.
करेक्ट,
So,
करेक्ट।
so
हुँ,
जो original thought है वो हिंदी में आती है.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल
This
ऐसा होता है।
it's not that first book के बाद second book लिखी है. It
जी।
was happening side by side.
हुँ, हुँ।
So while I was writing the first one, वो जो mind का clutter था वो clear हो रहा था. So that's how poetry, like I thought of my dad. It came in the form of the of first poetry. That's how I got to know. Okay, my heart wanted to write something.
नाइस
So
एंड
first
राइटिंग
poem.
इज़ रिलीविंग टू। इट्स रिलीविंग, इट हेल्प्स यू रिलीव एज़ वेल, राइट?
Yeah.
या,
Yeah, but while I was doing it, I wasn't aware कि मैं ये लिख रही हूँ and I wasn't aware कि ये poetry बनेगी. So
करेक्ट।
when I wrote it, like दो दो poem हो गई एक दिन में.
हुँ,
If it was a big poem in 10 days,
Mhm.
turned out to be like 100 and something poems. So I
Correct.
thought a book बना लेते हैं बहुत हो गया.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Then I
Correct.
selected a few and thought for a book 150 pages would be okay. Then
Mhm.
I got I changed my publisher and then
Mhm.
got that one also published. So it just happened. It was not my dream or anything. So life was happening.
Yeah, I see that. I see that attitude of yours. You, I think, basically throughout, your journey, whatever it has been, even if it has been your marriage or, yeah, your career, I think you've just enjoyed and processed the journey. If not enjoyed, I can't say enjoyed always, but then you've processed or you've been through the journey of it instead of merely focusing on the destination. क्योंकि आजकल लोग पहले पब्लिशर ढूंढते हैं फिर बुक लिखते हैं, but आपने पहले बुक की, and then you thought of shaping it into something which is publishable, right? So, and I think that's great. That is great. I think, Lucky, you are such an inspirational woman. I feel like, you know, what you display is ultimate strength, and the world really needs to learn from people like you, because I think हम सब लोग बहुत difficulties face करते हैं अपनी life में in one form or the other, but most of the people choose to be victims instead of winners. And I think wahi aapne ek difference create kiya. You chose to be a winner despite all the situations and circumstances. और शायद आपको पता भी नहीं था कि आप एक winner हो. You were still, isn't it? Isn't it? आपने शायद ये सोचा भी नहीं होगा कि आप एक विनर हो. You were surviving. If I may say, winner की जगह
Yeah.
ना आपने अपने आप को एक सर्वाइवर की तरह ट्रीट किया, that I'm going to survive, I'm going to survive, I'm going to survive. And I think that survival methodology of yours, it gained so much finesse and so much, it got so polished over years that you eventually ended up building a career which, you were, selling franchisees for. And that's amazing. That's kudos. I mean, that's wonderful. That's really worth learning. That brings me to my last question, before we really wrap this up. And that one question is, what is, one truth about life or resilience that no one told you, but you learned the hard way?
Yeah. See, this is that earlier
Mm-hmm.
when I didn't know about life, I was always like, when things happen,
Mm-hmm.
I was dependent on people. When I got married, I thought, okay, my husband is going to love me and I'm going to have a great family. And the way
Yeah.
to that was agree all the time, हाँ जी, do all the work, घर के काम अच्छे करो and be a nice mom. ये सब था.
Mm-hmm.
This was the definition given to us. A good person, I mean, I thought I was a good person, so
Yeah. You
it
are.
fitted
You are.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So ये बात इतनी ही नहीं है. Like this is what we grew up with.
Ji.
But beyond this, there is something you, something like the real you, which is within you. So through this journey of mine, I realized that I could take a stand on my own. I could think on my own. I knew what was right. It's not that I don't want to take suggestions from people. I respect elders. I respect people telling me that do this way, it is better.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, तुम्हारा अपना स्टैंड होना चाहिए, अपनी थॉट होनी चाहिए. हाउ डू यू वांट टू डू इट, व्हाट डू यू वांट. आज तक मुझे बच्चे, मेरे अपने बच्चे ट्रेन करते हैं कि मम्मा इट्स ओके, डू व्हाट यू वांट टू डू
Correct.
व्हाट यू थिंक इज राइट. वो गलत भी हो सकता है. इट्स ओके.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Because
when
you're
I,
human, right?
yeah, of
Because you're
course,
only
गलत
human,
करने
right? You can make mistakes and that's fine.
एग्जैक्टली exactly, हमें मेरे को पहले ये नहीं पता था कि हम भी गलती कर सकते हैं. सो यू आर ह्यूमन,
I
यू
know.
कैन.
गलती is a
एंड
crime
दूसरा,
actually. हमारी थोड़ी older generation के लिए गलती is considered as a crime. But I mean, that only makes you human. I mean, you're human, right? So you can make
of
mistakes.
course.
Yeah.
So when I got married at a time when I shouldn't have got married. That was the time I was getting many job offers in hotels,
Mm-hmm.
in Cathay Pacific and British Airways.
Mm-hmm.
I cleared the interviews. I could have gone for that, but
Yeah.
मन में ये भरा हुआ था कि कोई मुझे रख ले, कोई मुझे रख ले, कोई मुझे रख ले. Like what am I going to do?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
तो
get it.
ऐसे, so I had no confidence. But later I realized I was the one doing everything. यही पहले कर लेती. So
Correct. Correct. And you
So
would have
this
been
was
least
one main
stable,
thing.
right? Yeah,
This is what I wish someone had told me, that you're
yeah.
good enough, अपने लिए कर सकते हो, and do things for yourself, live for yourself.
Live
दूसरे
for
के
yourself.
पीछे बात बात की बात है.
Correct, correct. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not bad to have companionship too, but that companionship does not mean that you stop trusting yourself as an individual. I think शायद ये situation ने आपको clan से निकलकर एक individual बनना सिखाया, if I may say. Can I say that?
Yes, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So finally, if there's any woman really listening to, or if she's going through a painful relationship, or like even if it is severe financial stress, what would you gently want her to know? Just, maybe insinuate. What would you like to insinuate to her?
Not to give up. कि घबराना नहीं चाहिए. Of course,
Yeah.
when you are under pressure, you do as a human.
Hmm.
But ये चीज़ अगर हम अपने आप को रियलाइज कराते रहें, याद दिलाते रहें, even if no one else around you is doing that, tell yourself it's a phase and it will go off.
Yeah.
And जैसे क्लाउड होता है, क्लाउड में से जाते हैं, it passes away.
Yeah.
Similarly, जो भी सिचुएशन कितनी भी बुरी चल रही है, it will go away. Just keep doing what you think you should be doing till the time you actually are able to do what you want to do. तो जो कर सकते हो वो करते रहो, और जो पास में है उसी से शुरू करो. डोंट एक्सपेक्ट मच फ्रॉम पीपल. डू इट
Correct.
योरसेल्फ, डू इट योर वे, एंड डू इट होल हार्टेडली, एंड हो
Correct.
जाएगा. मतलब
Good.
मरने की जरूरत नहीं है किसी के लिए.
Sweet. No, that's very sweet. And Lucky, that brings us to the, end of the podcast. And I'd love to say thank you so much for really trusting us with your story, because your journey is truly inspirational. And it and you tell us that journey, your strength does not always need to roar. I mean, sometimes it's just it just wakes up, and it still keeps going, if I may say, right? That's exactly what I perceive out of your journey. And so, to everyone listening out here, if life feels unfair right now, please remember that rebuilding is not weakness, it's courage. And thank you so much again for this wonderful time that you gave to us, Lucky. And I am Sonakshi Sharma, and this is I've Got a Vibe. Stay kind to yourself and never underestimate the presence and the power of perseverance. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Yeah,
Lucky.
thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.